How's it going, guys? So I have just recently upgraded my processor from the AM4 AMD Ryzen 3950X to a AM5 based AMD Ryzen 9900X, and I have kept most of my internal hardware components intact, including the air-cooled CPU cooler, which was from Noctua. I think that was DA or DH whatever. I'll show you guys in a little bit. However, that cooler has been running really loud since the upgrade from the 3950 to 9900X, and I really want to look at another option that could hopefully reduce the noise coming from my case. In that regard, I actually found this Lian GA2 Trinity Performance 360 water cooler. Okay, so basically 360 millimeters length, probably 3 fans, I think. So this is the water cooler. This will be my first water cooler over the entire period of my DIY processor building history, and it will be interesting to find out how well it works on my 9900X, and also whether this is gonna keep my CPU more cool and the fan speed low compared to a back then probably top of the line air cooler that I've had. Okay, so let's get started and unbox this first. Okay, so I'm gonna just turn my camera angle a little bit, and I bought this because it was on sale for $99. Usually this cooler from Lian is around I think $140 or $150. So, and when it's on sale, it's only $99, which is great price. And let's find out what is inside this package. But you have a user manual, installation guide, the L Connect 3. This looks like a LED lighting setup. And in the box, you have basically the heatsink, which is this part wrapped in plastic, and the fan and the radiator. Okay, so let me get everything out and take a look really quick. Have some random covers here, the bracket for the CPU, and some more random stuff. Don't know what those are. Hopefully we'll find out soon. Okay, so let's put the box aside. And so yeah, here we go. Now let's remove this is just the cardboard box. And this is really weird. I don't know what those are, but let's find out. So the bracket seems to be, of course, non-standard. So obviously, I will have to remove my existing air cooler, and also I need to find space to get this cooler installed. The heat spread is included, which is nice. So those are probably for fixating the CPU part onto the cooler, onto the processor. And let's get this removed. I bought the black version because my case is actually black, so, and I don't really need any kind of LED implementation. I don't know if this one has LED. Maybe it does, but I don't really need LED in my case. This is the radiator part. You can see on the top. It's rather large. Here, let's flip my camera. And this is the processor part. And I don't think this is an LCD screen, so it would probably just have some LED running inside based on the picture that I saw on the box. But look over here, it's actually a full copper contact area for the processor, which is really nice. Okay, full copper. And in terms of the weight, yeah, it's a rather hefty weight, but not as heavy as I thought. Okay, the radiator plus the fan is actually quite heavy, and the fan, it looks like just blacked out version of Lian's factory fans or house brand fans. You've got a little manual controller over here for low and high speed, and you have this one 3-pin connector over here. For this area, that's probably for the pump. The SATA connector, that's to connect the power. It's probably for the pump and also for the fans. I don't know if that's for all 3 fans or not. And this could probably just be the controller. I do not know, but I would be interested to find out what this 4-pin controller is. And also over here, you have some more. You have a USB connector. That's probably to connect to the application function for this this cooler. And you have a 4-pin connector here for the fan, and that's all the connectors we have here. All right, so this is pretty much the, and you have 2 tubes, one for return, one for the sending hose for the fluid to circulate inside, and that's pretty much it. In terms of mounting, you can see over here, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 of those mounting holes. And looking at the top of my case, Define R5, hopefully I have some of those holes that would align with that case. And also looking at the space over here, hopefully there's enough space between the motherboard and the radiator plus the fan for me to implement this cooler in my case. Next, I'm gonna open up my case. We're gonna try to take my existing Noctua air cooler out and get the bracket installed to get ready for the new, of course, water cooling system, my very first one. Okay. So now I have took everything out. Let's just take another quick look. You have some stickers over here, heat spread, and some bushings over here. There are more power cables, and I can already tell this thing is probably more power hungry than I initially thought. Again, brackets for mounting the main unit. And the interesting thing is I twisted off the top, exposed this LED light area. So now I know what those little knobs are for. Basically, they give you this clear coated, like diffuse light box. And within that, you could put either one of those in there for visual effect. Okay, so you can have a mirror finish one. It's probably not gonna diffuse a lot of light. And you can have this diffuse light one, so it's gonna spread out a lot of LED colors. Or you can have this initial Lian one, which is like a mirror finish that was mounted on the unit that's gonna contact your processor. And that's pretty much all there is. Okay, so thought I'd show you guys before I start with my disassemble of the air coolers. So those are just for visual appearance. Here's a quick look what the air cooler looks like. It's gigantic, and yeah, hopefully we can get this installed properly. And also the air cooler is blocking my 4080 Super airflow just a little bit because it's literally touching. With the dedicated heat spread, whatever, the radiator system, all the space from here would get freed up, which in turn hopefully would improve the airflow just a little bit, make the case a little bit cooler. Okay, so to remove this, I have to remove the fans. and then just use a screw to get the heat spread out and remove the plate for the Noctua air cooler system, which is mounted only on the front. So on the back, you can see there are 4 screws. And once we have those 4 screws removed, we are going to be able to put the new AM5 bracket on there. And I highly recommend read through the installation instructions, because it's not as easy or straightforward as one might think if you have not been installing radiator water cooling system before. Okay, a lot of instructions to take care and note. You see the little sticker here. This is actually for applying the heat spread. Okay, it's not for sticking onto the case. And the direction are changeable depending on how you position the heat spread or your CPU, and also the water intake and output system on the processor. So really, and also the brackets are for Intel only. For the AMD, we're just going to be using those 2 and on the existing system, I believe. And then we should be able to get it installed rather quickly. Yeah, again, those 2 are for Intel systems. So I just got my air cooler removed, and guess what? The air cooler is big, but the radiator is even bigger. Sadly, the thickness of the radiator does not work with my clearance right here for the Define R5. What that means is I have to go buy a brand new case and somehow retire the Define R5. Yeah, that's the unfortunate reality here. The good news is I would probably be able to get some newer case that would have more USB-C connector for my new motherboard. The sad news is I really love this case, and it's been with me for many, many years, never let me down. But now it looks like I need a bigger case. So if you're using one of those water coolers, make sure you have enough. If you want to mount it on the top, make sure you have enough clearance between your motherboard and the top of the area, because this clearance is only able to fit the radiator part. It's not even able to fit the fan. Let alone I have some cables also running through from the side. So keep that in mind. This is going to be a much bigger project than I envisioned. And good lesson for you guys. Make sure you have a big case for a big radiator if you want to do that. Okay, so I'll see you in the next section when I go buy a case that would actually work for that radiator. I got a full tower case. This is Antec Performance 1 FT. The front looks pretty cool. So if you go on YouTube and search for the review of this case, I think based on the review and how the installation of other reviewers went, I went to Micro Center and I bought this case for myself. I don't think I'm going to be doing an unboxing. Basically, I'm going to be transferring everything in my Define R5 onto the Antec Performance 1 FT. And this case is fairly new. I think out for about a year or 2. And lots of airflow, and it's full tower, and it's longer than this one, so it's definitely going to fit everything with a lot more room and wiggle room. And it also comes with 3 140mm fans, 120mm fans, so plenty of built-in fans that come with the case, all for only $149 plus tax, which comes to about $160 if you buy it for yourself. Okay, so not a terribly expensive case, and for the amount of stuff that's included, and the design of the case seems to be very reasonable. Again, I'm going to get the case out. I'm going to start transferring all the stuff, and I want to stick this review to the water cooling performance of the Lian, whatever the model number is, I already forgot, the GA Trinity Performance 360. I want to see if there is a difference by going liquid cooling compared to sticking with one of the best air coolers out there, okay, for the AMD 9900X. All right, so I'm gonna get started. I'll see you in the next section. And as you can see, this new case is actually really well designed, super modular. I'm able to just take the top part off and actually mount my radiator first and then just drop it in there. So that will definitely make things a lot easier in terms of getting this water cooler installed in this brand new Antec case. Okay, so right now I'm literally just dropping all the screws that came with the cooler, and once we get this done, we're gonna get the motherboard installed and somehow fit the processor heat sink onto the motherboard, and hopefully get everything fitted rather quickly. Now it's a rather long process. I don't want to bore you guys, but I just want to show you guys that this new case, full tower, is going to be able to finally satisfy my need to have this water cooler properly installed without any kind of trouble, and still have plenty more room for more fans and even for more water cooling as needed. Okay, so this is really great, and I'm really excited for what it's going to turn out to be. So I've applied a generous amount of thermal paste according to the instruction using this honeycomb shaped guide. So basically, depending on your orientation, you will always want to have the heat paste distributed according to the processor configuration. But again, for the AMD processor, I don't think it matters that much, okay, in terms of like the heat spread, because it's like a square. So whichever way you're gonna put, it's gonna distribute an even amount. But I guess it will be a huge difference for Intel processors that might have a longer edge, like a rectangular shape, one way or the other, okay? So at this stage, I have most of the cables connected. And the very last thing is I want to have this really fitted onto the motherboard so I can connect all the remaining cables that haven't been connected. Now, a quick difference, obviously, is the cable organization with a liquid cooler. It is a lot more organized, let's just say it that way, especially in the front area. And also with a full tower EATX case, the amount of space that you can have with wiggle room in terms of where you're going to place those cables is also a lot more relaxed compared to a mid-tower ATX case. And again, I'm going to remove the film. It's going to have some distributed thermal paste just like that. And we're going to put it onto the motherboard. And all I have to do is just lash those two areas with the included latching pin. The process should be finished. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys after I get those installed on the motherboard. Just to show you, this is what the thermal paste looks like with that little plastic film removed. Looks nice and neat. And next, we're going to just insert this on the motherboard. Whew, after, what, 4 or 5 hours, I have finally got the liquid cooler installed on the motherboard with the radiator installed on a brand new case and everything organized and all the cables connected. It is still a little more messy than I like it to be. Okay, for example, this fan, like I don't know where this cable should go, you know. There's just no place for it, and it's just gonna be dangling here. I guess it doesn't matter much. The most messy part is, of course, the power-hungry GeForce RTX 4080 Super that requires 3 gigantic cables running from the behind up to the top and into the GPU. The radiator hose, I think it looks fine. It looks perfectly okay, but hopefully I'm just gonna run it like this for now, and just to make sure everything powers up, and hopefully eventually I would have some time to really optimize the cable routing on the Antec Performance one case. But so far, I'm actually very impressed with how easy it is to get the cable organized. It's actually much easier than on the Define R5 that I had for many, many years. Things has changed, technology has evolved, and ergonomics has improved. And let's just say that. So it's been about 2 days since I've finished upgrading my air cooler from my processor to a liquid cooler, as well as having to be forced to buy a brand new case. I would say the experience after using the new setup for 2 days has been quite positive. And the most important thing is actually to dial in the exact speed for the new radiator fan, as well as the pump speed, and also to fine tune the GPU fan speed to make sure that the case is as quiet as possible during normal office task use. We're not talking about like, intense gaming at highest resolution 4K and the highest frame rate and stuff like that. Just normal browsing. We want to make sure that the case is as quiet as possible. Okay, so I'm gonna flip my camera over just to show you guys what the finished product is and what you're gonna expect with a upgrade from air cooler to a liquid cooler. So here is the case. Again, I have grown to like this look of the case more and more. And before getting my first case with tempered glass, I always thought it's like a gimmick. But now looking at it, it actually does look really, really great. Even if just looking at the back of the motherboard, with everything nicely organized, I don't see any cable. Okay, I did some final cable organization, so it is very, very clean looking. And I didn't even peel the plastic. I want to leave the plastic there just to protect the glasses a little longer, right? But it's already looking fantastic on this Antec Performance 1 case. They call this a full tower case, but it's more like a medium case that's extended just a little bit, which works to my case, to my use case scenario. I don't want a super big case. I want a case that fits a 360 millimeter radiator on the top and have plenty of space for me to organize the cables and also be easy to work on. And this Antec Performance 1 fits my bill perfectly. What I also want to show you is on the screen, okay, I have this, this is the app for the Antec. This is the Antec app that I have to download, which enables, check this out, really nice real-time readout of the GPU temperature, and with the press of the button, turn it off or turn it on to show the CPU temperature. My CPU now at idle has been hovering around 39 to 43 degrees Fahrenheit, which is fantastic. And if you guys can hear the sound and the noise, it is really quiet. The GPU fan, also I can barely hear it. So right now, all the fans that you're gonna be hearing is the 3 front fans running at low speed and the 3 radiator cooling fans running at low speed, and also the 120 millimeter fan on the back. I would say this is as quiet as it can be and also not bothersome at all. Okay, looking over here, you can see the processor is nicely installed with the default LED cooling effect over there. The 4080 Super that had plenty of space to breathe and plenty of space for air cooling. The 3 fans in the front pushes the air nicely from the front to the back, and also the radiator dissipates heat really nicely from the top. I also have the filter installed in here, and in actual use, it actually doesn't affect the cooling, especially at the default, much. The temperature just hovers around this default temperature nowadays. So I have the air filter just to make sure that minimal amount of dust gets in there. And yeah, I have come to appreciate this small upgrade from a air cooler to a liquid cooling setup with a brand new case. And this L Connect is what you use to control the actual pump speed. Okay, so what do you see here? Now, depending on the setup of the connectors that you hook onto the actual pump that's sitting on top of the processor, you can control the fan speed here, but in this case, I'm not controlling the fan speed here. I'm only controlling the fan speed for the directly on the motherboard app, which is right here. So the only downside is I have to control the fan speed from like two different apps. One is the Gigabit motherboard fan control app, where over here I can control the CPU, which right here it's actually displaying the 2500 RPM. So this is the pump speed, the actual pump speed. This is not changeable over here. The pump speed has to be changed on the L Connect 3, which is right here, right? You see the pump. This is a place to change it. Even though here it has an option to change it, it doesn't control it. It's only able to control the pump speed. The pump speed is constant. Even though there's a curve here, it doesn't do anything, okay? So what I can change is the CPU optional, which actually it's gonna display the actual speed. This is the fan speed for the radiator on top, okay? So this I can change through the motherboard. And that's why when I showed you guys here that this displays at 0, I intentionally set it to not be controlled by the L Connect, but actually controlled by the motherboard app. If you want to control it here, you just need to hook up that controller, the Y-split controller, onto the processor, and then you can control it here, but then you can't control it on the motherboard. Now, right, this is the confusing part. On the motherboard, it's probably going to be grayed out and it's not going to display anything. But for now, I prefer to control it on the motherboard. So you have options to control it either through the L Connect app for the Lian, or you control it directly from the motherboard. But the pump speed, the pump is a thing that pumps the liquid directly on top of the processor, that I want to control it here. But you also have the option, again, to control this on the motherboard as well by hooking a connector. Again, I'm not doing that, just showing you guys the option. For the lighting effect, over here you have the full control of the lighting effect. Right now it's just in the LED spinning mode, which I think works fantastic. Okay, you can control the brightness and the speed of the spin, and you can turn it off completely by doing the option here, and you can control the direction of the spinning as well. Okay, so those are the apps that I need to install. And for the case temperature to work, obviously I had to install the Antec app, but you don't have to have this app open. Once you install the driver, this thing will tell you the live temperatures if you need to know, the GPU, or you can turn it off to have it look more slim, but I prefer to have it on the CPU all the time, which is pretty cool. Okay, so that's pretty much my experience. It's able to have it's able to have my CPU idle temperature to be very comfortably resting at around 39 to 42 degrees Celsius. During the load, the temperature, I think it is lower, and I actually quite honestly do not hear the fan go as loud as compared to on the air cooler. Even though the air cooler is able to efficiently cool it, it's just too loud for my taste. Okay, so what do you get in terms of switching from air cooler to a all-in-one? I think it's the advantage of a slightly lower noise, operating noise, both during idle and during the application, high load application uses, or during gaming. My overall noise has been lowered at least 10 to 15 decibels, my personal perception, okay? On the air cooler, yes, you're able to keep the CPU temperature on one of those better air coolers. You're able to keep the CPU temperature low, but you're not able to keep the noise low, okay? So that's the advantage. The downside is initial investment is gonna be high. For my use case, I have to spend $99 on a good cooler, and I also have to spend $150 on a good full tower case. And that's a couple $100 initial investment. If you have extra money laying around, yes, by all means do that. If you don't, a top-end air cooler is still gonna cool your processor very efficiently. The downside is if you can't handle the noise, I'm sorry, that's a trade-off. Okay. In either way, your processor is gonna be well cooled, but it really depends on what you really want to look for in terms of the overall experience. If you have the money, definitely go all in one, and definitely go find a newer, modern modular case that is very easy to work on. If your budget is tight, air cooler works fine. That's my conclusion. Hope you guys found this video helpful. Sorry, it's a little long. If you did, please do hit the like button or subscribe to my channel. I will continue to share my experience with DIY PC building and things like that. All right, thanks again guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.